Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Welcome everyone to WWE Aftershock Week 35, and I know this is coming out after Payback has already happened. In fact, when I'm recording this, it's literally as Payback is going on, but pretty much what happened is the go-home week of Payback, I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I even said I'm going to try to sit down and I'm going to watch every show, not live necessarily, but at least keep up enough where I could still come back and do WWE Aftershock, which did not happen. I don't even think I watched any shows until Friday, so yeah, that's pretty much what happened there. I always just got back too late, or I was just too tired to sit down and watch any of the shows. So, yeah, I watched it in the car Friday as we were coming back from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I watched Raw, NXT, and Main Event, but I couldn't watch any of the other shows just because I didn't have the time. And SmackDown, because I have Xfinity Stream, I was recording it anyways. I can't watch SmackDown as it's taking place anyway, so it wasn't going to happen. I was going to have to watch SmackDown when I came back. And then after I watched everything, finally, like at 5 o'clock, I finally sat down and recorded the show. And, of course, a minute in off the original take, there's no audio. So I'm pretty much doing this as Payback is taking place because I figure you're not going to see this till after Payback anyways. And I at least wanted to get a WWE Aftershock out. So that's why I'm doing this now. You're not going to get any notes from Main Event, NXT, or Raw just because when I watched those shows, I was watching it on my phone. I didn't have another way to really take notes, so I just watch it off Xfinity Stream, and I'm just going to go based off memory with that. So that's why it's going to happen this way. So I'm just going to get started. I'm going to start off by saying that every show except for SmackDown, they did a nice tribute for Bray Wyatt because it was still very fresh after his passing. They did tributes for Terry Funk and Bob Barker as well, but it was mainly for Bray Wyatt just because of how much of an effect that it had to everybody. So that's why they did that. They played the video package, and then they would have his rocking chair be out on the stage to kind of pay tribute to him and everything like that. And they played his original theme song when he first debuted under his original Eater of Worlds gimmick. So I thought it was a very nice tribute they did, all things considered. They did the same thing for Terry Funk on Raw, and for Raw, for Bob Barker, they just played basically the episode of Raw that he guest hosted. So I thought WWE really knocked it out of the park when it came to the tributes for Terry Funk, Bob Barker, and Bray Wyatt. So I thought that was great stuff. Now I'm going to do house show rules. Since Main Event is recorded before Raw, I'm just going to cover that first. It actually aired, though, on August 30th, 2023. And we had the commentary team of Wade Barrett and Byron Saxton. And there was just 2 matches on Main Event. The first one was Chelsea Green versus Katana Chance. This match wasn't very good. Not a very good utilization of the women's tag team titles that they've basically been relegated to Main Event now. I think it's just time to get rid of these titles if that's what's going to happen with them now. Yeah, just really not that very exciting. The match was very botchy, and Katana Chance won with a flatliner type move, so there you go. Then we had the main event. It was Akira Tozawa versus JD McDonough, and this match was really good. It was really back and forth, and JD McDonough won with a Spanish fly, followed by the Devlin side, and yeah, he just won. It made sense because he's in the biggest storyline on Raw with the Judgment Day. It wouldn't have made sense that he lost here. I would have just shown this match on Raw. That way, more people would have seen it. That way, they would have seen how much of a contender that JD McDonough could have been. But it is what it is. Overall, I thought main event was okay. I'll give that like a C+. Just a pretty decent show right there. Now let's go through Raw. We had Wade Barrett and Michael Cole on commentary for that show. And Raw kicked right off with Sami Zayn versus Damian Priest. This made sense because they were just talking about Bray Wyatt, and with everything just kind of going on there, I thought it made sense to kick off with a match. That way everyone just kind of can get right into the show and everything like that. And Damian Priest was requested this match because of the way that Sami Zayn went about their business, he thought anyways, the week prior to this. And it was a really good match. JD McDonough interfered on Damian Priest's behalf, and he ended up winning with the South of Heaven. But Damian Priest looks at him and says that he didn't want his help, so he basically throws him to the Wolves, or leaves him to the Wolves anyways, and he gets hit and attacked by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and they hit their finishers on him, and that's how that ended. And Judgment Day are backstage. Finn Balor and Damian Priest are arguing about this because we had found out during the match that it was going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defending the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And, Finn Balor and Damian Priest were arguing about this, and it led to Rhea Ripley telling them that Judgment Day needed to get it together, so she basically puts an ultimatum on Judgment Day saying that if they don't walk out with gold, there's going to be some serious changes with Judgment Day. So I'm glad that they've added that element to the match. It makes the match a little bit more intriguing. And afterwards, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn reveal that, they went to Adam Pearce and they made their tag title match a Steel City Street Fight. So that's going to be some very exciting stuff right there. So I like what they did with it. I like how they hyped up the WWE Undisputed Tag Team title match for Payback on this show. I thought they did that very well. They also hyped up Rhea Ripley's match at Payback coming up. They had Raquel Rodriguez do a nice video package going through her career and everything like that and how strong she is. And for Rhea Ripley, she came out and cut a promo. She talked about how, Raquel Rodriguez is really strong, but not as strong as Rhea Ripley, and it led to a brawl where Raquel Rodriguez was about to attack Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley tried to take advantage and hit the Riptide, but Raquel Rodriguez fought out of it and powered out of it and clotheslined Rhea Ripley out of the ring. So I like that they gave Raquel Rodriguez some momentum there. I thought that was good stuff. I liked how they hyped up the Women's World Title match. Other things that happened is The Miz came out and he basically cosplayed as LA Knight. He was dressed like him and he was acting like him and he was basically making fun of him. I thought that was a very well done segment and it hyped up their match. And The Miz says that he's going to absolutely wipe the face and wipe the floor with LA Knight at Payback. It was really good stuff. And other things that happened on Raw, Tommaso Ciampa beat Bronson Reed. It was actually a pretty good match. I didn't really understand the finish. In terms of just, I didn't really like the way it was done, but I thought it was good stuff for the most part. Becky Lynch wrestled in the main event. She faced Zoe Stark in the Falls Count Anywhere match. She got interviewed about it earlier in the show, but I don't remember anything she said. It was just more stuff to hype up her cage match coming up with Trish Stratus and the Falls Count Anywhere match. And during the match, Trish Stratus pretty much tried to interfere the whole time. But Becky Lynch was eventually able to fight her off, and she put Trish through a table and hit a manhandle slam to Trish Stratus through a table and won the match. And we found out during the post show, pretty much that this was a tribute to Bray Wyatt, because when Becky Lynch had her first tables match when she was the SmackDown Women's Champion, Bray Wyatt helped her through that tables match. So in a way, this was kind of a nice callback to that type of thing. So that was good stuff. So I liked the Falls Count Anywhere match for the most part and everything like that. I thought they had Trish interfere a bit too much, but at least they gave Becky the win, so I was happy with that. They also furthered the World Heavyweight Championship feud between Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. Seth Rollins came out to call out Shinsuke Nakamura, but all he got was a video package where Shinsuke Nakamura talked about how he was going to target the back of Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins got upset about this, says that Shinsuke Nakamura is not going to take everything that he's built, and he talked about, how he wants to see the Shinsuke Nakamura of old, and he got blindsided by Shinsuke Nakamura following the segment. So I like how they made Shinsuke Nakamura look like a strong contender going into Payback. So this was a good segment here. We also had on this show the New Day versus the Viking Raiders. During this, Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle came out to watch the match. They did a segment backstage where McIntyre got given this picture by Riddle where it was going to be new ring attire they would wear together as a tag team, but McIntyre wasn't into it. But the reason Matt Riddle had the idea to go out there and watch it, McIntyre basically agreed because he had a bone to pick with the Viking Raiders and the New Day. And we had the tag match. It was a really good tag match. Very back and forth. Eventually, Ivar throws Xavier Woods into McIntyre and Riddle, and McIntyre just loses it. He tosses furniture around, and he tosses a rolling chair into Xavier Woods inadvertently. And because of this, it allows the Viking Raiders to take advantage, and they hit Ragnarok on Kofi Kingston for the win. And the McIntyre's upset about this. He apologizes to Kofi Kingston for doing this, and Kofi Kingston says that it's fine. And McIntyre says that he has a bone to pick, and he's going to make it so that way there's not going to be any tags. And basically, we find out later in the night that it's going to be Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle versus the Viking Raiders in a Tornado tag team match. So that's going to be a really good match right there. We also got Walter. Imperial came out to do a promo, and Walter announced pretty much that he's going to defend his Intercontinental title against Chad Gable, and now that Chad Gable's made him angry, and it led to Marcel Bartel versus Chad Gable, and Chad Gable was about to win with the Chaos Theory, but it got broken up by Fabian Eichner, and Imperium beat down Gable. He did get a hope so out in when Walter went for the powerbomb. Gable locked him in for an ankle lock for about 5 seconds, and but eventually got beat down again and laid out with the powerbomb. So I liked how they went all about that. They gave Walter his heat, but they also showed that Chad Gable could, get the advantage on Walter, even for that split second. So shows that he could potentially win the Intercontinental Championship. So I liked all of that. And I think that's everything that took place on Raw. I just want to make sure that I got to everything. I think I pretty much did. So, yeah, it's good stuff. It does look like they're putting DIY back together. I do want to make sure I mention that because I mentioned that the first time around. They've been doing these segments on Tommaso Ciampa's Instagram page where he's been trying to find Johnny Gargano. So I'm hoping this leads to Gargano coming back. Maybe Ciampa gets beaten down at one point and Gargano makes the save. But yeah, I think that was pretty much everything that took place on Raw. I thought Raw was really good, actually. I'm going to give it a B. I don't think it was quite a B+, but I thought it was a good way to hype up the pay-per-view and everything like that. I thought they did that very well. So it's really good stuff. And then moving on to NXT. We had the commentary team of Booker T and Vic Joseph, and NXT was very much hyped around the fact that it was going to be the Fatal 4-Way match where the winner was going to face Tiffany Stratton on the next episode of NXT for the women's title, and it was between Gigi Dolan, Roxanne Perez, Kiana James, and Blair Davenport. Each of them did like a little promo hyping up the match and everything like that, which I thought all the promos were very good. If I had to say the best one was probably Roxanne Perez. It was really weird, though. Her promo sounded very heelish, so I hope that doesn't mean she's turning heel. And we had the 4-way match, and the 4-way match was actually very good. I really enjoyed this match. Up until the finish, of course, of all people, they gave Kiana James the victory, which I really don't understand that. I don't really think that Bayley is going to be a very good women's title match at all, but it is what it is. They did do a face-off with Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James after the match, but I think they should have gone with a different direction. I get not wanting to go with Roxanne Perez or Gigi Dolan because I think that match would be saved for like an NXT special, but if you wanted to do a 1 week thing, I think they easily could have just given the win to Blair Davenport. So it is what it is. I don't think the match between Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James is going to be very good, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. That wasn't the only women's match on the show, though. We had Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan versus Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. This was set up because they got into a exchange on social media. They did brawl backstage, and it led to the match being made official. And the match wasn't very good, just really bad. Only one of these women are really any good, and that's Kalani Jordan. Lola Vice does have potential, but it's just too soon for her to be on TV, so that's why I say only one of them's really any good. And they gave the win to Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez, so it's like whatever. I really didn't care for this match. They did some stuff with the NXT Global Heritage Cup Invitational. They're doing this Invitational now, where they're going to do basically a G1 type style tournament, and they have a Group A block and a Group B block, and the matches are going to be 12 minutes each, or the match is going to have a 12-minute time limit, and if you win a match, you get 2 points, and if you get a tie, both the people will get 1 point. And whoever wins each of the groups will face off with each other. I believe it's on the September 29th episode of NXT, which I think is the go-home episode before NXT No Mercy, but I could be wrong on that. And in each groups, in Group A is Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Axiom, and I knew it a second ago. Yeah, I knew it. Oh, Charlie Dempsey. And Group B is Duke Hudson, Nathan Frazier, Joe Coffey, and Akira Tozawa. So I think this is going to be a nice little tournament. I'm looking forward to see how the matches play out. And we got 2 of those matches on NXT. And the first one was Pete Dunne versus Charlie Dempsey. This match was very technical, very stiff, and Pete Dunne ended up winning with the better end, but I actually kind of like the way they went about it, where he just basically took advantage of it, just a tiny mistake of Charlie Dempsey made, and I don't think it made him look all that weak, so I thought that was very good stuff. And Joe Coffey beat Nathan Frazier. I thought the styles meshed really well with each other. And he won with the Awa Best for the Bells. But yeah, I thought that both those matches were very good. But during these matches, Noam Dar was watching in like a lounge. And he ended up interrupting Ilya Dragunov as he mentioned the fact that he wanted to go back for the NXT Championship after giving props to Trick Williams in his match from before. And it led to basically them basically jaw-jacking with each other, and Orla Mensah went down there and he acted like he was going to get in the ring and fight him, but instead he just said that he's going to have a match with him next week. They did end up having a fight where he ended up taking off when Ilya Dragunov went for the Torpedo Moscow, so that match is going to happen on the next episode, and I'm looking forward to that. So that would be good stuff. Other stuff that happened in NXT, they did a lame segment at Chase U where Thea Hale basically ditched class and is going to hang out with JC Jane, which the turn in Thea Hale heel, and I'm not a fan of that. So I didn't really care for that. They're doing this storyline with Carmelo Hayes where he's questioning whether he can actually beat Ilya Dragunov. He was talking about it with the family, and the Street Profits actually showed up, and I'm not sure what this means, if this is them trying to recruit Carmelo Hayes to join up with the faction that they have going on with Bobby Lashley on SmackDown, because everyone's been predicting that Carmelo Hayes is going to be a part of that, or is this going to be them potentially challenging for the NXT Tag Team titles, because they'll eyeing those championships as well. Really not sure what's going to happen there, but they could end up doing both, where Carmelo Hayes joins, and Carmelo Hayes joined, and they recruit and they win the titles. I would like both things. But it led throughout the night where Carmelo Hayes said that he had to handle business. He talked about how he had asterisks on one of his title defenses, and he went and talked to Trick Williams, and he wondered if Trick Williams thought that he could beat Ilya Dragunov because he's upset with the fact that, he feels like the only reason he won was because Trick Williams helped him. And it led to Trick Williams eventually just saying, no, I don't think you can beat him. And then when Carmelo Hayes walked away, he just said, I know you can beat him. So there's a bit of miscommunication there. And at the end of the show, it showed that Carmelo Hayes was watching a video that was posted earlier by Wesley where he talked about how he wasn't done with Carmelo Hayes yet, because he talked about how Carmelo Hayes essentially, how Carmelo Hayes didn't beat him, Wesley beat himself, and then he went into Shawn Michaels' office and he said that he wanted to have a conversation with him. So what's probably going to happen is probably in 2 weeks, they're going to probably do Wesley versus Ilya Dragunov, where the winner faces Carmelo Hayes for the NXT title at No Mercy, and I imagine that Dragunov will probably win that, and they'll do some type of stipulation match at No Mercy. But I liked everything they did with Carmelo Hayes on the show. It was really good stuff, and it keeps the title in conversation. The opener of NXT was the Creed Brothers versus Grizzled Young Veterans, where if they won, it was the cage match where if they won, they would be reinstated back to NXT. Kind of a bad timing to book a cage match the week they're trying to get people to pay for a premium account not a premium, but a Peacock account to watch a cage match. Kind of bad timing on NXT's part, but whatever. Overall, it was good stuff. The Creed Brothers won, and yeah, they could just never do a loser leaves NXT match again because they basically just ruined that stipulation. So there's that. But the match itself was still very good. I like that match for the most part. And then, I'm trying to think. They did a lot of stuff where they kind of just hyped up matches that were going to happen in NXT for the next episode. They set up a 6-man tag with Drew Gulak's team. I know Charlie Dempsey's in it, but I forget the other guy's name that's in it, and I forget it every time. They were gonna face Briggs and Jensen, and they needed to find a partner. So Fallon Henley went over to the Performance Center and offered for Miles Bourne to be their partner, and he ended up accepting. So that'll be interesting. And then they set up Von Wagner versus Braun Breaker in an ODQ match. Von Wagner challenged him to it, and then Braun Breaker confronted Barry Corbin. He wanted to thank you for saving Baron Corbin, but Baron Corbin didn't do this, and he basically told Baron Corbin to stay out of his business next week. So that was some interesting stuff right there. And then Tyler Bate did an interview where he was breaking down the Global Heritage Cup Invitational, and he challenged Abacado to a match next week. So I liked how they set all that stuff up. It was good promos and good hype for the most part. And I think that's everything that happened on NXT. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything. I covered the 4-way. I covered the women's tag match. I forgot it last time I did the first take. They also did Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe. That match was really good. It reminded me of the black and gold days of NXT. And Dijak cheated. He hit Thorpe from behind while the ref wasn't looking with a belt, and then laid him out with a discus big boots. So I think they're going to do a rematch. I actually like the fact they had Dijak just get the win here, because I think Eddie Thorpe still got something out of this to show that Dijak couldn't get the advantage on him without cheating. So I imagine maybe a stipulation match is going to happen there. Maybe a No Mercy between Dijak and Eddie Thorpe. It'll be pretty interesting to see that. And then they also did a vignette with Los Lotharios, where basically they're not going to be Los Lotharios anymore. They're going to do this now for the grandfather now and all that type of stuff. And it's really good stuff. I would definitely recommend checking that out. And I think that was pretty much everything that happened in NXT. I can't think of anything else that would have happened. But yeah, overall, I thought NXT was really solid. I'm going to give that a B. Not quite a B+, but pretty close. Before I cover the bump, I'm going to and level up and stuff, I forgot to do predictions for Raw and NXT, so I'll just do that real quick. There's, I think, 2 matches announced for Raw on the next episode. We're gonna have Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle versus the Viking Raiders in a Tornado Tag Team match. I imagine Drew and Matt Riddle will win, just because they lost to the New Day a bit ago and they need to get some heat back. So I'm gonna predict that Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle will win. I would like it if the Viking Raiders won, just because it would set up that heel turn with Drew McIntyre even more, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I definitely think that's incoming, though. And then we have Walter defending the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable. Now, if Walter does retain, he'll pretty much become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, because I think after that, he basically beats the record. I think it's like 3 days later, so... I think Walter will retain. I just don't see why they would come this far just to not have him break the record. I think this is the time to do it. And I think Gable will come really close, though. I think he'll get like a really good near fall. I would do something where like he gets a visual pin on Walter, but Walter gets his foot on the ropes like the last second the ref misses it, and they do basically a dusty finish, but we have to see what happens there. As for predictions for NXT, we have Tyler Bate versus Dabba-Kato. I think they should just give the win to Tyler Bate. I think it would look cool if he could get him up for the Tyler Driver 97, but we'll have to wait and see on that. What else is announced? So we have Drew Gulak's stable versus Briggs, Jensen, and Miles Bourne. I think Gulak's stable will win. I think Miles Bourne's just going to be in there just for that way they can get a win. So I think that's going to be what happens. And then we have Tiffany Stratton defending the NXT Women's Championship against Kiana James. I think Tiffany Stratton's going to retain the championship because I actually think they're going to do Tiffany Stratton versus Becky Lynch at No Mercy. It seems like they've been really setting that up because they had Tiffany Stratton name drop her a few weeks ago, and then on Raw this past week she was in the crowd and they showed her in the crowd like right before Becky Lynch's match, so I definitely think Becky Lynch is challenging and potentially winning the NXT Women's title, which I think would be a great thing for NXT. And I think that's why they're doing this match so early. They're going to have Becky Lynch, I think, actually come out and confront her, too, so that'd be awesome. And I think that's everything that's... And then, obviously, Los Lotharios are going to return. I don't think they're going to be Los Lotharios anymore because they burnt, like, the T-shirt and stuff, but they're probably going to have, like, an enhancement tag match and just win that, so that would be good stuff. And then, I actually forgot this happened in NXT. Dragon Lee got interviewed, and he talked about potentially facing Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. And Mustafa Ali came up and basically told him that he had his shot. He wants his shot. And Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley made a video on Instagram where they basically said that they're going to have a match. And so that way there is a winner. Dominic Mysterio is going to be the special guest referee. And what I imagine is going to happen there is I would like Dragon Lee to win, but I actually think that Dominic Mysterio is going to help Mustafa Ali win because I think he's going to think Mustafa Ali is the easier opponent considering the fact that Dragon Lee has beaten him before. So I actually think that, I think it'll be a crooked ref and Mustafa Ali's basically going to take advantage of that. So I would prefer Dragon Lee win, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But that's everything coming up for NXT. I am going to cover Level Up just because... it's basically under the NXT umbrella, so I'll just cover that. I actually enjoyed Level Up quite a bit. We had, let me get my notes, because this is the one show I have notes for, and I'm not taking advantage of that. I did that in the last take, too. We had, that took place on September 1st, 2023. We had the commentary team of Byron Saxton and Blake Howard. We had Riley Osborne versus Javier Bernal. This was Riley Osborne's debut, and he looked really good here. I think he's been the best person that's debuted on Level Up in a while. He hit a lot of really good dives in this match. He didn't necessarily stick the landing, but I wouldn't really blame it on him. I think that was kind of more on Javier Bernal. But eventually, he actually won. He hit the shooting star press on Javier Bernal and actually got the victory, which I actually think was a really good surprise, It's a good surprise, too, because I think every once in a while you have to show that this could happen, because I feel like you're going to lose a lot of steam if you have these debuts happen on Level Up and they just never win. So I'm glad they gave the win to Riley Osborne here. And he has a lot of potential, I think. I could easily see him being a future NXT North American champion. So I'm liking what I've seen so far with Riley Osborne. So I think that's going to be good stuff. And Stevie Turner got interviewed. She talked about why she's been away from NXT, and basically she just went to recollect herself. When she showed up, actually, I completely forgot she was even on NXT. But yeah, she just randomly just stopped showing up. I'm not sure what happened, if she actually got injured or what. But she ended up facing Valentina Veloz. This ended up being the best match I think I've seen Valentina Veloz have, but she still didn't win. They gave the win to Stevie Turner, and it would be interesting to see what they do with her. Then we had the main event. It was the NXT Global Heritage Cup B block match. It was Duke Hudson versus Akira Tozawa. Poor Akira Tozawa. The dude just cannot get on any of the A-level shows, whether that's Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. He's basically stuck on the C shows like Main Event and Level Up, but he makes the most out of his opportunities, and this match was really good. I would definitely recommend watching it. Eventually, Duke Hudson won with the Razor's Edge, and he gains 2 points in the tournament. But yeah, I thought the match was really good stuff, and yeah, it was just really good stuff. And I actually enjoyed Level Up this week. I'm going to give it a B-. I would definitely check out the Javier Bernal, Riley Osborne match and the NXT Global Heritage Cup Invitational. I would definitely check out those two matches. So, yeah, really good stuff. Then we had the bump. The bump was really good stuff. They brought on Dominic Mysterio pretty much right away, and he talked about what it's been like being the North American champion and the most hated person in wrestling, and he talked about what he's been doing basically as North American champion and how busy his schedule is now. It was a really good interview. I would definitely recommend checking it out. And then Paul Heyman got interviewed. Well, no, he didn't get interviewed. Then Shinsuke Nakamura got interviewed. He actually got interviewed first, and he basically just talked about his World Heavyweight title match coming up with Seth Rollins, which was really good stuff. And then Paul Heyman got interviewed. The whole reason Paul Heyman was there is because Roman Reigns recently, it was on that episode of The Bump actually, was celebrating 3 years as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. So he just basically talked about his time with Roman Reigns and what it's been like and everything like that. And because Terry Funk had passed, he actually said some words about Terry Funk, and I would definitely recommend watching The Bump just to see what Paul Heyman had to say about Terry Funk. So I enjoyed The Bump quite a lot. I'm going to give The Bump like an A-. I really enjoyed the interviews of Dominic Mysterio and Paul Heyman. It was really great stuff. Paul Heyman, too, actually FaceTimed in, on the screen, and it was actually in the WWE HQ, since that's where they record the show, and it was actually pretty funny stuff, so I definitely recommend watching that. Then we had SmackDown, and I remember I told you guys that I went to Hershey, Pennsylvania, and the motel I was staying at was legitimately not far from the arena of where SmackDown was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I legitimately could have probably walked there. It would have probably only taken me 40 minutes, but it just couldn't really work out that way. Fortunately, like I said, we left the same day as SmackDown was there, so it just wasn't going to work out. And it's a shame, but it is what it is. It's the second time that's happened now, because I'm pretty sure when I went to North Carolina back in May, I think Raw was there, so that's a shame. But, still got some enjoyment out of watching SmackDown. This was the big return of John Cena, and as we found out over the week, this isn't just a one-and-done thing for John Cena. John Cena's going to be around for the next couple of months or so. He's basically going to be on 7 SmackDowns, and it'll be interesting to see what John Cena does. Obviously, on this show, he was just kind of there. He didn't really further any storylines, but he was there. It'll be interesting to see if he is set to have a match in India, obviously, but I definitely think he's going to wrestle at least, but it will be interesting to see what they do with John Cena as the weeks go ahead. He's not going to be on every SmackDown, but he's going to be on at least most SmackDowns. I think he's going to be there until at least October, I think it is. So it'll be interesting to see how they factor in John Cena throughout the programming. Because obviously, I think John Cena is mainly there because he's in between projects, and I think with the Hollywood strike going on, there's not really anything for him to do. So that's why I think he's showing up. So it's pretty cool. It's definitely going to be definitely going to enjoy John Cena while he's here. So, but he did come out here. He basically thanked the fans for being so giving and talked about how he may not be, popping up. Like he realizes the chances of him getting into the ring are very limited. And he announced that he just found out right before he came out that he was going to be the host of Payback, which that does make sense for him to do that since Payback's in Pittsburgh and he's going to be there anyways. And then Jimmy Uso comes out, and his theme song's different now. It's basically a mixture of Roman Reigns' theme song and his theme song, which I think is really cool stuff. And he talks about how, he didn't want to see... He said that he did what he did to Jey Uso because he didn't want to basically see him become the tribal chief and basically let the success go to his head like Roman Reigns and John Cena have. And he said that John Cena is basically a representation. He's basically Roman Reigns, except that he takes and he does it with a smile on his face. And John Cena basically tells it like it is to Jimmy Uso and tells him that the one Uso quit. Jey Uso goes for a super kick on John Cena, and Cena blocks it, and he lays out Jey Uso with an attitude adjustment. And this led to Jey Uso pretty much being in a bad mood the rest of the night. He talked down to a stagehand that was backstage. He walked in on a conversation between Mia Yim and Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce basically told him to knock it off, and Jimmy Uso agreed, and Mia Yim complained about it to the OC backstage, and AJ Styles went to stuck up for her as Jimmy Uso was about to leave. He went and yelled at Jimmy about it, and during this, Solo Sikoa attacked Jimmy from behind, and Solo told Jimmy Uso that he's not done with the Bloodline until the Bloodline says so. So this led to a match between AJ Styles and Solo Sikoa, and I do think it's pretty cool that that happened, just because I think it's kind of cool that AJ Styles and Paul Heyman seemed like have buried the hatchet, whatever heat they had, because AJ Styles, that's the whole reason we haven't really seen him versus Roman Reigns yet since he became the tribal chief. So I kind of hope that means we're going to get AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns, but we'll have to wait and see. And during the match, Jimmy Uso interfered, which allowed Solo to hit the spike on AJ for the win. And afterwards, Jimmy Uso laid out AJ with the super kick followed by a splash. I'm not sure what this means. I don't know if I like it, because I don't really like the fact that Jimmy's going to go back with the Bloodline. And if you want to know why, just go watch my WWE Aftershock Extra video where I covered, that in the SummerSlam episode. But, yeah, I am intrigued, but I'm not loving what they're doing with Jimmy Uso at the moment. So, there's that. There was some other stuff that happened on SmackDown. We had a tag match with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. It was a pretty good tag match. Grayson Waller and Theory won when Grayson Waller hit the Rolling Stunner on Santos Escobar. This made sense since Grayson Waller is going to have Cody Rhodes on the Grayson Waller effect, so I think it makes sense for him to get a big win, so that way he doesn't look like a complete loser. So I thought that made sense. And there was a way for Theory to get a win without him having to beat anybody, I guess. So that's interesting. We had another tag match, though, where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beat Wild King Wild and Raul Mendoza. It was essentially a squash match. I didn't really love the fact it was a squash match. I thought they could have made something out of that. I wish if they were just going to have a squash match, why not just squash an enhancement team? But whatever. Afterwards, they said they're going to basically destroy the Judgment Day at Payback. And then before this, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits came out and basically said that they want success and they want power and they want championship gold. And they actually had a face-off with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So I don't know if that's going to be the team that ends up dethroning Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn overall for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And then what else happened on SmackDown? I shouldn't. Also, Shotzi beat Bayley via Charlotte Flair interference, which is going to set up a tag match for the next episode of SmackDown. I thought the match overall was relatively good, and that's pretty much everything that happened on SmackDown. Pretty noteworthy show, though. Oh, and then The Miz and LA Knight had their face-off, which I'll just let you guys kind of go watch SmackDown for that, because that was really good stuff. So, yeah. I like SmackDown. I'm going to give SmackDown a B+. I thought it was a great show overall. I enjoyed it for the return of John Cena, and I thought we had some good matches throughout the show. So, overall, I enjoyed SmackDown. Predictions for SmackDown, I think the only thing announced is that tag match with Charlotte Flair and Shotzi versus Io Sky and Bayley. I imagine Charlotte Flair and Shotzi will win, and this is probably going to set up a one-on-one match with Shotzi and Charlotte Flair, where the winner faces Io Sky at Fastlane for the women's title. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me do my predictions real quick, and Chris Dodd's predictions for Payback. There's no point now, but I'll just do it anyways, just so that way it's done. We have the undisputed WWE Tag Team title match, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. We do have the tiebreaker of who takes the pin. We both predict that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to retain the titles. He thinks Damian Priest will take the pin, but I think Finn Balor is going to take the pin. So, be interested to see what happens there. We both predict that LA Knight will beat The Miz, and we both predict that Rey Mysterio will beat Austin Theory. We both predict that Rhea Ripley will retain the Women's World title against Raquel Rodriguez. And we both predict that Seth Rollins will retain the World Heavyweight Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. And we both predict that Becky Lynch will beat Trish Stratus in the Steel Cage match. And we both don't think there's going to be a cash-in at Money in the Bank. I don't think it's time for that yet. So that's pretty much everything for WWE Aftershock for week 35. Sorry that the past couple of weeks have just been really quick, but I'm just been trying to get them out there. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. The only thing I'll plug is just check out WWE Aftershock Extra. That will probably be out Tuesday, but recorded Monday. It was supposed to be recorded Sunday, but because of what happened, that didn't happen that way. So you're just going to have to settle with that. But that's pretty much it, guys. And since it's being recorded in the past, I will talk to you in the future.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.